Lucy, how do you feel about your breakfast this morning? There you have it, from the very mouth of Babe. There are 112 animals that need to be fed before I go to work. And because we've got some major food hog fatties on the farm, we have to play a giant game of musical chairs with all the animals. Good boy. So with the bowls collected and the food safe from our little 55-gallon drums on toothpick legs here, they're on a diet. We're gonna go open that middle gate and get everyone else's breakfast ready. And then that shuffle lets me open the gate. Come on, babies! Come on, babies! We are hopefully mere moments away from 12 more baby goats being born. We've got Jolene, who is beyond ready to pop. Her cohort Baby, who is also quite miserable and very grunty at the moment. Aretha Franklin is probably a little ways behind them. There's the Maury Povich moment, Jeffrey, the proud father of all 4 of these little monsters right here. Look, look who it is. Hi, buds. Oh my gosh. Less than a week old and already doing goat things. This one's my favorite, don't tell the others. Sorry, buddy, oh gosh. This is my cheapest animal to feed at the moment because she's drinking exclusively mommy's milk. She's one of Quad's 4 babies that were born to the same mommy, and they all look like little carbon copies of their dad, Jeffrey. If we were to keep all 5 of the adult goats in the barn year-round and just fed something, we would feed chaff hay, which is basically $18 a bag if you have to buy it at the co-op. However, we're farmers and feed chaff hay to literally all of our animals, so we buy it by the semi-truckload, which makes it a whole lot cheaper. 5 adult goats are basically eating 1 40-pound bag of chaff hay every 5 days. Chaff hay is fermented alfalfa. It's kind of like a small-scale version of haylage or silage like some farmers feed. And if we were to just feed that, we would be giving the goats everything that they need nutritionally. But when we have pregnant or nursing goats, we want to give them a little bit of extra caloric material. So we feed them about 2 cups of grain on the milking stand every day. So that basically adds another 40-pound bag of grain that costs about $28 to our monthly feeding ration. We're gonna top off their mineral feeders. This kelp meal is $60 a bag, and we feed it to the goats and the cows. We've also got some goat mineral from Redmond Mineral, and we just like to keep that thing topped off a little bit so that they always have fresh salt to lick. And between those 2 things, they pretty much have everything they need. If we're worried about stomach issues or anything else, we'll add some baking soda to the last thing. But since we have someone who's especially fond of pooping in every feeder right now, we'll just leave that to rest for the moment. Every week, I give each of the goats a tiny little squirt of Replimon gel, which is basically just a backup mineral vitamin plan to make sure that everyone has everything they need, especially because we're in kidding season. We want to make sure everyone has the selenium that they need. So at $13 a bottle that lasts about 3 months, Adam will do that math later. Please note the fly tape everywhere, which reduce, reuse, recycle. We then feed the full fly tapes to the chickens, and they really enjoy that. So there's that, but we got to change out this water because it gets real dusty in here. Now, the livestock guardian dogs. June eats Costco dog food, which is much cheaper, but Johnny has some autoimmune issues and he has to eat very expensive dog food. He eats 4 cups of this a day, which basically means we go through a 35-pound bag every month, which costs $90. So between Johnny and June, we're going through about $125 of dog food a month. Less than ideal. Okay, John, you ready for your special dog food? Okay, mister, here you go. You're such a good boy. Lucy, you little jerk. What are you, trying to break in or something? We are working on your breakfast. We will be getting it very shortly. Lucy's literally frothing at the mouth. I'm working on it, buddy. You just have to have a little bit of patience. Most of our feed that we feed comes in powdered form, so we have to wet it down. And the pig feed especially needs to be soaked for 15 minutes prior to giving it to the pig. She's on a diet as well. She knows we're talking about her. Lucy, have some patience, girl. Oh my God, Lucy, you funny little girl. Lucy is definitely our least expensive animal to feed because her, you know, we're never gonna eat her, so we don't have to worry about organic food for her. It's literally just miniature pig food, even though there's not that many. And we put a little apple cider vinegar in it. There's some sunflower seeds in there as well. And then we add a little bit of oil to it to help her skin because she's always having skin issues. And then we give it all a good wet down. Okay, so we're gonna let that soak for a while. We'll fill up our water bucket. Okay, we'll give this back to the animals. All right, Jeffrey. Now, don't you mess this up, buddy. We'll get some fresh waters. Okay, wow, really thirsty right off the bat. Okay, there you go, girl. Okay, Lucy, we are going to wait your turn, baby girl. I know, you have to wait for your food to hydrate. I'm into it too. We'll have some patience. Oh my God, Lucy is very angry right now. I can sympathize a tad, but not really. Now I have the chaff down on the bottom there, and neither one of the chickens or the pigs need a ton of actual feed today because one of the best ways I've come up with to save money around the homestead is bartering and trading for scraps. I should also mention that I found during my daily Easter egg hunt, I found some especially dirty chicken eggs, and as long as you're not breeding your pigs, uncooked eggs are totally fine to feed them, but if you are breeding your pigs, you want to hard boil your eggs before you feed it to the pigs. Okay, Lucy, you know what, girl? Fine, you can have your food. Back up. And not that you deserve it because of your attitude, but I guess I'll give you an egg in your food as well, you little jerk. So if a human was making these noises while eating, I would get up and leave. But for whatever reason, Lucy making them is like the cutest, most precious sound I've ever heard in my life. Lucy, how do you feel about your breakfast this morning? There you have it, from the very mouth of Babe. That was a Babe the pig joke. Okay, this is why we normally don't feed it like this, because we've got those little fatties trying to steal everyone's food. Howdy, back your little butt up. Back up, back up. You have to let Lucy have her food. Listen, you'd think that these donkeys were literally starving to death. Okay. All right, back up, Bella. Okay, back up. I will not lie that doing everything one-handed for the last 2.5 months has really been a major bummer, but there's good to be found in every situation. The cats are supposed to be eating 100% free-range organic mice and rats, but we also feed them, I kid you not, this is called maintenance cat, which amuses me to no end. It's like the absolute bare minimum that a cat might need. This is what the cats get. Also, for basically any reason except for mouse patrol. I despise all cats of all kinds. Except for Oliver, my sweet prince. Well, look who's right here waiting for us this entire time. You know what, you guys? We're gonna just put up their little fence really quick. Now, try to cause a problem, you little jerks. Howdy, oh my lands. I forgot this was here. Actually, that will be a problem. Okay, this is Howdy and Bella's special little horse vitamins, and they get a tiny little handful of them every day. You would think that this was like crack or something, but legitimately it's just little vitamin pellets. This plus their small ration of chaff hay is really all they should have in a day, and it should be mixed with barley straw, but barley straw is apparently impossible to find here, and so we let them eat the dead grass that we've let kind of hang out. And Howdy, come on, Bubby. Here you go. You want your vitamins? Okay, you can have the whole container, or you can come over here. We're having some behavior regression at the moment. I think mostly because Adam of No Trades has so graciously been helping with so many of the farm chores while I've been not functioning at 100%. But that also allows them to run amok a little bit. All right, let's go feed the chickens. Somehow I grabbed the one bucket that doesn't have a handle, but here we are nonetheless. Watch yourself, don't fall down the hill. First thing we gotta do here is stop ourselves from getting shocked. We're gonna put this in here because Hattie and Bella are being such pests at the moment. Okay, move. Okay, now let's go get our next bucket of stuff. Chickens have to eat 1/4 pound of food each day, or 1.5 pounds of food a week. We have over 100 birds here, and if we were just buying grain for all of that feed, we would be spending so much money on feed. So I trade eggs for compost and for refuse from our local CSA farm. And we use that to augment the animal feed. Howdy, you really are getting on my last nerve here, Broseph. I love you though. You are a very good boy, but you really just need some loving discipline in your life again. I would really like to get to the point where like 90 to 100% of the feed for the animals is actually coming from recycled materials. However, there is definitely a cost-benefit analysis that needs to be done as far as the value of my time. Let's see what else we can find here. Always want to include a pumpkin, some peppers in here. Oh, a snail, they'll love this. Great. We'll take this to the chickens. So I'm continuously putting down wood chips and other things down in this area, and then I'm having the chickens scratch through it, mix it in. We disrupted and compacted this soil pretty badly when we were cutting the foundation for the school. And so now I'm wanting to like undo that compaction. So I'm concentrating the chickens on this area. Again, this was actually supposed to be a temporary spot, and I was gonna, get into all of my rotational stuff. But then I hurt my hand, and here we are many times later. So the real secret to getting them to stir this stuff into the wood chips that I'm constantly adding to this area and also eat all of the produce is to actually dump our grains on top of our produce so that they have something that's desirable for them to go for. And again, here you'll see the used chaff hay that the goats had pooped in. And ultimately, all of this makes pretty wonderful fodder for the chickens to get plenty of extra nutrients, to offset our feed bills, to get our compost, literally anything that they don't eat will get stirred into these wood chips, and then I can basically just rake it up, put it in the compost pile, and we're good to go. So again, because I hurt my hand, I was not able to build out my little nest boxes yet. And so in that, I was like, well, I found this little half a pallet thing, and I was like, this will kind of work as a nest box, and they'll probably just lay their eggs on the floor, and they'll get kind of dirty, but that's okay because farmers know that farm animals poop. Oh, by the way, these are my guinea keats that I got against Adam's wishes because they eat more ticks than any other animal combined. The unfortunate side effect of my lack of nest boxes, though, is that my chickens have gotten kind of creative about their laying, so I end up spending a good portion of my day doing a daily Easter egg hunt. Oh, this is gonna be twins. Sometimes first-time egg layers have a little bit of anomalies in their first eggs that they're laying, but I mean literally just the comparison in size here. This is definitely a twofer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, let's see how many more we can go find. A lot of the birds are out wandering at the moment, which is another thing. As soon as my hand gets better, it's time to clip some wings. 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh my gosh. 20, 21, 22. Oh, well, this is kind of cool though. I've been wondering where my blue egg layer has been laying it, so caught in the act, I guess. All right, we'll pop into the office and put these down. I'll take the cleanest ones and put them right into the little thingies. We always put the cleanest eggs there for the nicest customers. All right, so we fed about 6 pounds of food along with a whole lot of pounds of vegetables. Basically for 100 birds, at a 1/4 pound of food a day, we're obviously putting out 25 pounds of food a day, but we're not actually feeding 25 pounds of chicken food. And also because I'm not about to be buying that much chicken food, I actually started feeding the chickens pig food because it's cheaper and they're getting lots of other nutrients from the vegetables and other things that we're feeding them. Ultimately, I end up feeding about 6 to 7 pounds of grain a day, and then I supplement the rest with foraged and fresh veggies. So if we are getting about 2 dozen eggs a day and selling those at $7 a dozen, that's $14. So we want to make sure that we're then using less than $14 worth of feed and time and all those other things to make the egg making make sense. And here's where the ducks actually help us pay the bills, because the ducks and the geese are basically using 100% other animals' refuse, and they're converting that refuse into usually about a dozen eggs a day, and the duck eggs go for $12 a dozen at the farmer's market. 7, 8, 9, and so like when we have thin eggshells or funny shapes, we tend to wonder if that's like a nutrient deficiency in our animals, which, you know, means that I probably need to up their grain for a little while just to make sure that they're getting the right things, and always give them a diversity of different foods in their diet. The other thing that the ducks really do well for us is keep the garden pests to an absolute minimum, because they're up against the garden right there. They'll get any slugs, fly larvae, like all grasshoppers that are coming in from the outside. And right before dusk, if pests are especially bad, I'll just open that little gate and let the ducks come in before they go to bed at night. Many moons ago, I said I would never have any useless pets on the farm, but we've acquired a few throughout the years. One of them is my little bunny, Briggsy, and I used to feed Briggsy his own tiny ration of chaff hay every day, but chaff hay just started making these little bunny-specific treats that have cultured alfalfa, whole wheat, and black oil sunflower seeds, which is like pretty fun because it's lots of treats that Bun Bun will like. Back up, you little cretins. Come on. My goodness. Call me a bad farmer or call me whatever you want. I've been raising rabbits since I was 11 years old. Briggsy is part of a new breed of rabbits that I created while learning about rabbit genetics. And I thought I was bringing his wife, but in the chaos of loading the animal trailer, I accidentally brought another male bunny and not Briggsy's wife. So if you know of anyone with Netherland dwarf lion head mixes that could be Briggsy's future wife, he's lonely and looking for companionship. Howdy and Bella are passionate about recycling. They help me break down boxes before I'm even ready for them to. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I'll take it from here. Thank you. Okay, great. All right, we'll take this out to the piggies. You know what, Howdy? You're being such a pest. Why don't I'll give you a little bit of extra chaff hay, but you need to enjoy it over here so that you don't cause a tripping hazard. You are so fat. Go eat over there, please and thank you. All right, I've got a couple pumpkins in here. The big thing is like no raw potatoes, but I was looking through this as I was picking it out of their compost bin anyway, so we should be okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Since we're about to go downhill anyway, no problem. Let's go for a little sled. Now it's okay. I made this brilliant pig waterer. It would be more brilliant if it was filled by the rain catchment thingy that I had designed it for. But you know what? When you only have one hand, oh my gosh, you do what you can. I actually wonder where the pigs even are. I'm sure they'll come. Actually, it's probably for everyone, in everyone's best interest that they're not over here right now anyway. Maybe they just got sick of waiting for their victuals. And I will also say that this is a pretty perfect example of like something that looks absolutely awful before it looks wonderful, because we are in the last stage of the pigs fixing the pond, which was in fact the financial reason for getting the pigs in the first place, is because of the enormous cost of their feed. Ultimately, we're saving money because not only are we going to get the pork when we butcher them, we're also basically saving $11,000 fixing the pond, which will hopefully make it a stockable, usable resource instead of the mosquito pit that it has been for the last 3.5 years since we've been here. So just like I did with the chickens, I put out all the veggies there for the pigs, and then I'm gonna cover it with the grain, the eggs, like all the stuff that's really gonna make them wanna root through there. Oh, here they come, good. Come on, buddies, Kevin! You want your breakfast? Come get it. Come get it, buddies. Yeah. You guys. I will also say that I got pigs this year as an experiment because I'd heard from a lot of my farmer friends that pigs are kind of a rough animal to raise because big animals like this can get dangerous real quick. But these pigs are so friendly and so wonderful. I will say though that like you can definitely tell by looking at my pants and their little snout lines that I have pigs, but I really have enjoyed these guys so far. So part of the reason that we're doing the pumpkins is obviously like it's extra calories, they really enjoy them, but pumpkin seeds are naturally anti-parasitic, and one of my biggest concerns with having these pigs confined to a space while they fix this pond was parasite issues, because you know we're in Tennessee, this is like parasite breeding ground. And the reason that I do my rotational grazing stuff with all the other animals is, yeah, of course it creates a lot of really low cost feed for the animals, but more importantly it keeps them moving through the pasture, which helps us with carbon sequestration, making the soil better, and most importantly, keeping our parasite issues with all of our other livestock to an absolute bare minimum. But knock on wood, feeding pumpkins and, you know, just like being really careful about them having a balanced diet, we haven't had any parasite issues with the pigs, and I'm really pleased about that. But then I was saying too about the importance of having backups and backups for our backups, like with it being kidding season right now, with my hand injured, I have kept the goats, the donkeys, and the alpacas in this small pastured area for much of the season. And that's where having something like chaff hay available to us, like that fermented alfalfa that has a guaranteed nutritional analysis, knowing that all the animals are getting exactly what they need inside a bucket and not like eating off the ground where there's like poop and other things, you know, that they're just like constantly re-ingesting parasite eggs and all that is absolutely huge. I mentioned earlier that I'm constantly looking for ways to offset costs. And one of the big things that the pigs will do for us is they'll also eat all of the skim milk from making butter and other cheese products from the cows. And in that, skim milk makes pigs fat. Food for thought for humans as we're drinking skim milk as well. But speaking of, let's go milk the cows. Now we may have a bit of an issue because it's taken longer to do chores while filming than it usually does. And the cows may be nowhere to be found. Come on, Reba, come on, baby, let's go, girls. Reba, maybe, come on, come on, come on. First things first, we turn off the cow fence so we don't pee our pants. This is our trap. So a mature cow will eat about 100 pounds of food a day. A dairy cow needs extra calories because she is producing milk, which requires a lot of calories. So with like, you know, our non-lactating moms and our beef cows, we don't supplement their food at all unless they run out of grass in the pasture, at which point we use the hay that we've cut earlier in the season to feed them. A beef cow will drink like 10-ish gallons of water, but a lactating dairy cow will drink up to 50 gallons of water in a day, which is just like a wild amount. But I mean, it's just like thinking about keeping up with their production, both hydration and calorie wise, is hugely important. And that's where a nice mixture of chaff hay and soy-free grain comes in. Here comes Reba now. People that are used to looking at like beef cows in fields will often say that dairy cows appear far too skinny for their own good. That's A, because they have very different bodies, and so it's not often as much of a concern. But B, now that grass-fed like dairy and beef is becoming more and more popular, a lot of people that don't have grass-fed genetics in their herds are actually struggling with extreme weight loss during the lactation period of the year, because the cow just simply cannot get enough calories from grass. Ow, God. Oof, it's like cat of nine tails with the cockleburrs in it. Cheese and rice, that was less than ideal. Every once in a while I get like a bunch of slivers on my face and I'm like, how did this happen? And then I remember. So I'm sitting on a round bale distributor that helps them to eat their round bales and not waste as much hay during the winter. We don't tend to feed very much hay in the summer. And then over there we have a garlic salt lick. Redmond Minerals is the only company I've found that makes a garlic salt lick itself that the cows will actually eat. I used to try to use powdered garlic and that didn't work. And also when I was using powdered garlic, for whatever reason, it made the milk then taste like garlic. With this, it helps with the flies and then there's no garlic taste in the milk. So win, win, win. But they are, holy shamoly, really going to town on those minerals right now. If you watched our 101 animals morning chores video a couple months ago, you saw that I was awaiting a bunch of calf births and some baby goat births. And now those calves are on the ground and we're gonna go find them. Some of the baby goats have arrived and that's why the number is now 112 instead of just 101. Maybe. Where's your babies, huh? This is Maybelline. She's one of our Dexter beef mamas, and she had a bull calf. Her bull calf is gonna be our bull for the next couple years. I wonder where they're at. Silly little goobers. So I tend to have very lofty goals and be pretty dang hard on myself when things don't really match the ideal. I wanna get rid of things like these cockleburrs, that stuff that was in Reva's tail that was whipping me in the back of the head. But knowing that the ideal is multiple daily rotations of the cows in very concentrated paddock, getting the goats back out of the barn, running the birds exactly 3 days behind the larger livestock so that they can eat all of the bug and fly and parasite larvae that accumulates in the little feces patties. This is where knowing the ideal and then having backups and backups for our backups is so important. Because doing daily or even multiple times a day rotations of all of our animals is extremely labor intensive. It also would change the amount of time and energy and capacity I was able to offer to different areas of the farm. And it's literally understanding how much I want to actually invest of myself, of my time, of my energy in this season on the farm that is going to dictate whether money saving, cost savings, or time savings is what I'm pursuing. Right now, keeping a full-time job and being able to make more financially driven versus time-driven choices is the ideal for me. I'm doing some rotation, what my energy and effort and time will allow at the moment, and I am paying for that, literally, by having to pay more for our feed costs. And so speaking of what it is that I'm gonna focus on, here's these cute little calfies. This is the rat pack, our 3 bull calves that were born this summer. Jersey cows are our dairy cows, and they require a lot of calories to make milk. They also have bigger framed bodies, so it takes them a long time to grow out if they have a steer that we're raising for beef. Whereas Dexter cows, that's a little Dexter bull, Dexter cows are extremely fast growing, smaller bodied cows that have their neck really close to the ground. So literally it requires less calories for them to raise and lower their head. So they literally need less stuff to be able to grow out to full maturity. So a mixture between a Dexter and a Jersey, beef and dairy, is exactly what we're going for. We want to get those easy grass-fed genetics without having to have extra grain to keep the milk production up. And also the best beef that I've ever had is Belfair meat. So it's a Jersey Dexter cross that was 100% grass-fed. And in addition to our milk sales, though we're always wanting to have replacement heifers for the dairy, when we do end up having bull calves that we can then steer, it's an additional profit margin for our dairy business, because 2 years after they're born, we'll get about 700 pounds of beef that we can then sell for $17 a pound. And though it takes a while to matriculate, that adds quite a hefty sum to the goal of making $10,000 a year from each of our dairy cows from the sale of milk and other milk products. All right, it is time for the evening shuffle. Now I need to basically move everyone out of their current area and distract the donkeys and get the alpacas caught in their evening pen so that they can eat their dinner. Okay, all right. I am not going to reward naughty behavior. Please back up. You may enjoy that over there. Now please move. Ringo, I see you've already been wrestling with someone. Please do not spit at me or anyone else. Hey, Jeffrey, I'm gonna give you this so you're distracted for a moment. Let me just run through and close the gate really quick. Okay, that gate's shut. We already got Lucy in. Lucy's slumbering, snoring, crankily. Ringo, Georgie, oops, where's George? Okay, we gotta go find George. Georgie! Hey, Georgie! Georgie! Oh, here you are. Oh, my Lanta. You surprised me, Bubby. Good job, Georgie. In each one of these dishes, we have exactly 1 scoop of their fortified alpaca pellets and chaff hay. The fermented alfalfa helps them with their digestion, does all of the same things that it does for all the other animals, but with the added bonus here of actually keeping them from choking on their alpaca pellets. And because alpacas are so prone to parasites and diseases and other things here, it's really important that we get them a really scientific diet. And so that is what the pellets are for. If we give them a guaranteed analysis of like this certain stuff, then whatever else they happen to graze on or nibble on throughout the day, we know that they're gonna be okay. And that has actually been the biggest kind of positive change as far as having a positive experience with the alpacas on the farm, as opposed to prior when it was a lot more difficult and their health was kind of going up and down a lot. Okay, this is the new challenge we've got, which is basically sneaking through every gate and not letting Jeffrey back in, because Jeffrey is on probation because he was acting a little bit too excited around the baby goats. So, you know, he's out. All right, so rest of the evening chores. The one difference in our evening dog food regimen is that Johnny has to take his meds. Oh my lands, this is hilarious. For basically 1 week of the goats' lives, they can actually fit through the little gate hole, which is funny and cute, but then they kind of just wander around, and this is why I have to, dust off all my tools and things every single time I go to use them. Good news, farming doesn't really allow a ton of time for woodwork at the moment anyway, so we're okay. Well, if you locked yourself out, that's not really my problem, is it? Oh, look at those little baby goats. They're sitting on your food holder. That's okay, we can eat on the ground today. Oh, okay, I guess they're gonna move anyway. Okay, the one last little thing is we have to make sure, obviously, that they have water, but because Johnny eats his food phenomenally fast, we're gonna wet it down a little bit. And that helps slow him down a little bit. Okay, June, you ready, girl? Oh, my lands, it's time to clean the barn. Here you go. Okay, June. All right, mister, you ready? There you go, mister. You enjoy your dinner. Good boy. If you've just seen me taking care of my 112 animals, you might be surprised to find out that growing up, I never even had a dog or a cat. And it was literally just because of an announcement when I was 5 years old that I was like, someday I'm gonna be a farmer. And as an adult, I wanted to figure out how to actually be a farmer. And along the way, I've learned a lot of lessons, some easy, some hard, but I have chronicled all of them from 10 years ago as a total city slicker who didn't know anything about any of this stuff to now, where I'm still careful about calling myself an expert, but I definitely have learned a thing or two. And one of the things that makes taking care of this many animals possible or probable is I've done a lot of thinking about how I can make my life a whole lot easier. Using these little floor sweepers as manure catchers is one of the greatest hacks I've ever found for my homestead. And you can find an article with this hack as well as 15 other hacks to hack your homestead on my Squarespace website, annofalltrades.com. I have been using Squarespace to host my website since 2012 when I started this whole chaos train. In addition to supporting my channel from the beginning, Squarespace has also been a fantastic resource for someone like me who is not super tech savvy to be able to very easily drag and drop whatever it is that I want to share with you for free so you can enjoy it, learn from me, laugh with me, cry with me when I cry, into a beautiful artist design template that then shares it with you all. Squarespace also makes it easy for me to sell merchandise, project plans, and even the online digital courses that I create. And if you're anything like me and you find yourself with some harebrained scheme you want to just test out and see what the world thinks of it, check out Squarespace when it's time to make your website. If you use the code AnnofAllTrades when you're actually ready to launch your site, you'll get a 10% discount. If you thought this was a lot of chores to take care of our 112 animals, believe it or not, this is only the chores that we do over here. On the mornings that I milk all the other cows, there is actually a whole lot more steps involved, and this video is all about it. I would love to see you there. Cheers! Howdy, you're gonna need to move back up. Back up a little bit, please, and thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Move, please. Jeffrey, no!